So this video is about the messaging application in the HTC Mozart phone. What I'm going to do is that I will run through the basic functionality, show you how the basic things work, and then after that I'll comment on what I see as good and bad usability wise in this application. So messaging is accessible from the home screen. Messaging. The main screen in this application is this list of conversations. If I press the name of my messaging partner, I'll see my own messages over here and my partner's or whatever's messages in the other side of the screen. I can type a message by pressing type message down here, use the on-screen keyboard, and then I have options down here for attaching something or sending. Let me show you how attachment works. I press the attachment button and I get to a number of pictures that I can attach, all of them by date or the favorites. And I scroll between the three categories by flipping the screen as this. If I wish to take a new picture, I'll press the camera down here. Right now the phone is lying on a flat black surface, so there's nothing to see here. And I can go back again if I wish to. If I add a picture, it'll be part of the conversation and I can then send it. I'm not going to send this now. The person up here might be annoyed. So I'll just go out again. This icon indicates that I can delete this draft of a message that I have. If I wish to create a new message, I press the plus sign down here. I'll quickly find my answering machine here so I won't reveal any of my contacts. And then I can type my message. Send it. So that's the basic functionality of the messaging application. Let's have a look at what is good and what is bad for the usability. So one of the good things is that this is built up into conversations. Until the iPhone came out in 2007, everything was put into either an inbox or an outbox. Inbox for received messages and outbox or send messages for send messages, which made it kind of difficult to puzzle together how a conversation actually took place. Sometimes so many text messages are sent that they kind of cross each other, and subjects in the same conversations can cross and make things a little bit confusing. So it's nice that, as any other smartphone these days, that this is built up into conversations also, because it's, as any other smartphone, it's easy to understand because it's consistent with other interfaces that the user have seen. I also like the idea that images is a part of the conversation. As you can see here, I have images just in the conversation as normal, let's call them conversation items. So I don't have to go into another folder or anything in order to find the images that I've received. The icons down here are actually easy to understand, but I do think that they are too small. This attachment icon is alright, 20 pixels or something. The same with the sending icon. Well, there's plenty of space down here, so they could have made them, if nothing else, then wider. But the icons themselves are pretty easy to understand. This paperclip for attachment and these stripes. I'll just do like this so you can see the icon better. These stripes here. It might be difficult to see that this is actually a little speech bubble, but the stripes indicates that some kind of movement is going on, and this indicates that something will be sent. It's not too bad. And then, of course, as you might have noticed in some of the other reviews that I've done about text messaging or on-screen keyboards as a whole, there is easy access to smileys. Now let's look at some of the things that are less usable or less good for the usability of the application. Now, one of the things that bugs me a little bit about this application is that I cannot save a number to a contact directly from this list of conversations. It happens fairly often that I get a text message from somebody that I don't have in my list of contacts already. Then, of course, the easy part for me is to go into my conversation list, press the phone number, long press the phone number, any kind of interaction, that will let me save the number from here. But if I press the conversation here from a phone number that is not in my list, I'll see the actual conversation and I cannot do anything here other than deleting or continuing by sending a new message or attaching something and then sending the message. If I long press it out here, the only option that I get is to delete it. So I have to remember this number by heart or scribble it down on a piece of paper in order to then add it to my list of contacts, which is obviously cumbersome and annoying and unnecessary. There's plenty of space here, and it's fairly natural for the user to add numbers from this list to the list of contacts, so it should have been here somewhere. The next thing is that you'll notice down here you'll have a general global back button. You'll have a home button here, which I've commented on earlier is a kind of product placement. It should have been a home icon, but it's a Windows icon because Windows wants the user to know that if you want to go home, Windows is the way. Yeah, well, sure. And then you have a search icon over here. So let's say I have 50 conversations down here. I wish to search in them. Then I open Bing and do an online search. Maybe the search would be more useful if I would be searching in the conversations, or if I'm in an actual conversation. This is a fairly long conversation, as you can see. It has images in it. It has a lot of stuff here and there. Actually, down here on the bottom it has a list of groceries that I need to buy. Luckily it's in the bottom of the list, so I don't have to search too much, but I do a lot of text messaging with this specific person. Of course, it's my wife. And it's not unheard of that I can get a list of groceries at 12 o'clock and then we send 25 messages or something after that. So then of course I have to go up in the list somewhere. So it makes sense for me to search in my conversation as well. So then I press search and I open Bing and I do an online search. Also, this animation here is a bit too slow. It's not too slow when you go backwards, but to open Bing actually takes half a second or a fraction of a second too much. And you might wonder what is my big problem with Bing? It always takes me to an online search. No, it doesn't. Let me just go out of here. If I go into my contacts, the people down here, and I use search, then I can search in my contacts. If I'm in my Google Mail and I press the search icon, I will search in my Google Messages. Let's say if I'm in the phone and I press search, then I can search my call history. So when I press the search icon down here, I'm never quite sure if I open Bing or if I open some kind of, let's say, internal search that makes more sense to me than this ubiquitous general online search. So that's actually not very practical for the user to have this Bing thrown in the face when he thinks he can do something else like searching in a list of messages. Also, let's say I wish to add a new message. I press the little icon down here. It's not possible for me to press anything else than the icon. I need to hit it. I can then find somebody here. I can add them. So if I wish to add another person, I will have to hit this icon. This icon is small. If I hit it here, nothing happens. Ah, there you are. So again, why does it have to be so small? Why couldn't they just have something that's wider, a button that says add or something, instead of having to be perfect style-wise and then compromise usability? Another thing that is not too perfect for usability is the help that you get if you're not good at aiming. Let's say I write something here. I wish to write test, but I'm not very good at aiming. So the phone kindly suggests that test might be the word that I'm looking for, or year, or yesterday, or whatever. I can then press space if I wish to accept the word, and then it'll add a space afterwards. This functionality is similar to functionality in a Sony Ericsson Xperia Arc phone is similar. As you can see out here, this is cut in half. This indicates that there will be something else, so it's fairly easy for me to understand that I can scroll sideways in order to get more suggestions. The problem is that this word is only in bold. And the big problem here is that I live in Denmark, therefore I write mostly Danish words to my messaging partners, and there's not a Danish dictionary in this phone yet. Therefore almost all the words that I write will have suggestions for other words in English. And it's very often that this bold thing isn't enough to remind me that there is a suggestion for me that I can just accept by pressing space. So half of my words are suddenly English and I don't notice it. Other phones, and again I have to point you to the rather brilliant Sony Ericsson Xperia Arc phone, will have another background or something. So it's a lot easier to see that something is highlighted than just having this in bold. And the last thing I'm going to bitch about with this phone is if I wish to attach something. If I wish to attach something here, all I get is images. Why is it that I cannot attach a little sound bite? Why is it that I cannot attach a little piece of video? Why is it that the only thing that I can attach is pictures? It really doesn't make sense to me because there's a lot of other stuff that the user wishes to share. So overall, it's relatively easy to use this application. It's not a disaster in any way, but it's just not made as usable as it could have been. I've seen way better executions in other phones, and I can point to 6 or 7 things that are not executed correctly. And some places where style has taken preference over usability, which of course is the biggest problem that I can see in an interface. So please, whoever runs projects at Microsoft doing this Windows 7 for mobile, do give the designers some more time, do give the usability experts some more resources or something for the next time, so they get to test this better. I'm pretty sure that if the designer of this application saw this review, he would say stuff such as, well, there's nothing new here, we just didn't have time to do it better because of tight deadlines or whatever.